Politics is an instrument of governance and will that drives leadership for nation building. In Nigeria, it has been a tool for agitation, liberation, and collective national cohesion. Nigeria's political journey since independence has been quite remarkable due to the various stages associated with it. This great journey began in the 1920s when leaders like Herbert Macaulay, Nnamdi Azikiwe, Obafemi Awolowo, and Ahmadu Bello mobilized their people to negotiate and articulate Nigeria's political development with the British colonial government.
Nigeria has really gone through so many phases, political phases like you have said, the parliamentary system that produced Alagita Abubakar Tafawa Balewa and Nnamdi Azikiwe as the president. The coup, the various coup. Nigeria has become a giant nation. We have the First Republic, the Second Republic, the Third Republic, and thank to Almighty God, since 1999, we now have a transition, a political transition that is moving on. And not only just moving on, but that is transforming the political landscape.
This action no doubt paid off as the colonial British government began to accede to nationalist demand, which progressively led to independence on October 1st, 1960.
For 25 years of my life, I fought for the freedom of Nigeria. Nigeria will attain independence on October 1, 1960. So it makes no difference to me whether the Sardauna or Balewa or Chief Awolowo or myself will become the first prime minister. So long as Nigeria is free, I'll be satisfied.
We admire the American way of life, and we respect the people of the United States for their love of freedom. The spirit of freedom, which was kindled in the hearts of the founders of your great nation, and has impelled you to great feats in moments of national emergency, as well as in your daily activities. That same spirit has shown itself in Africa, and we are determined that the flame of freedom, once alight, shall not go out again in our continent.
Independence for Nigeria in 1960 is imperative, but independence for Nigeria as a corporate entity is not enough. The peoples of Nigeria must at the same time be guaranteed their freedom.
Although October 1st, 1960 independence has been one of the watershed in the political history of Nigeria, the independence came with the parliamentary system of government in operation.
If you look at the political history of Nigeria, if you see the First Republic, it was a little bit pedestrian. Pedestrian in the sense that it was a period the period was a very close period to the cessation of colonialism. Now, and one way or the other, the political organization, the political system, as of that time, was very close to the British thinking. Then eventually, Nigerian caught away. By 1979, Nigerian caught away and said they were going into an executive political system, which brought in Alhaji Shehu Shagari of blessed memory.
In less than 6 years, it was evident that the parliamentary system could not manage the heterogeneous nature of Nigeria. Its failures were noticeable in ethnic bigotry, military coup, civil war, amongst others.
So by 1960, most Nigerians woke up October 1 to hope, to happiness, to joy, to joyful ecstasy. But in time, some of these things began to lose their impact. It is not clear what took place, but it might not be unconnected with the rabid individualism that seeped its way into ethnic relationship, into the pursuit of faith and religion, and of course corruption, which is a fact of that rabid individualism that I made reference to.
As it has been the case in the past, Nigeria has always taken the path of consultation and inclusiveness in resolving national issues. No time has it been said that a means of violence has been used to achieve progress in Nigerian politics. For instance, in 1977, under former head of state, President Olusegun Obasanjo, a constituent assembly was elected to draft a new constitution for Nigeria. Consequently, ban on political parties were lifted to herald the new political dispensation. Thus, by 1979, Nigeria began practicing the presidential system of government with a view to managing the intractable issues that marred the parliamentary system of government.
The presidential system is more representative. It brings people, it increases the number of people that go into governance, and it also links the governance to the people. And the governor, yes, the executives have a lot of power. The people that have elected them also have their own power. They can recall. And they could decide to wait for somebody who is not performing until he returns back, you know, and insist not to return him back to whatever appointment position they have elected him before. So it has its own merit. And I think what we have in this country is not necessarily the system, but we all know is the methodology of operating it and the people that are involved in the operation.
Military rule, which had been a fashion in most third world countries in Africa in general, did not leave the political scene immediately after 1979. However, it held on to power for 29 years in Nigeria. The perspective of military incursion in Nigerian politics has been a subject of argument among scholars, but its involvement has not been without some memorable impacts. Notably among them is the Constitutional Conference of 1995 under General Sani Abacha. The conference formulated the 6 geopolitical zones structure that has remained the formula for addressing national issues in the country.
During the time there were incessant military coups, it was novel all over the world, except maybe in some part of Europe, especially Western Europe and America. It was novel. The politicians then were taught not to be doing well, especially in terms of corruption, in terms of lack of productivity and development. And the military felt then in Africa and some developing economics, or people call them the third world, then they felt that the civilian or the political system was not meeting the aspiration of the people and they need to be purged. Now, it also depends. Generally speaking, the military incursion into the political system is an aberration. It is an aberration because that is not their fundamental and their first port of call. Their first point of call is protecting the life and the property, the territorial integrity of the country, which is Nigeria in this case. That's their first call. They are not, so on this, yeah, coming to the government is dysfunctional. Coming to taking over political realm is not a good one. But then, beyond this, the military involvement in politics at the other side has also helped us to transform. Let's get it. It is obvious. No one can deny this. The bulk of development that we had, do you call them airport? Do you call them university? Do you call them even constitutional evolution? Do you call them discipline? You know, do you call them responsibility in governance? And do you call them even, limiting corruption? They have made a lot of sacrifices and they have contributed.
In the year 1999, Nigerians decided to abandon military rule for civilian rule, and General Abdulsalami Abubakar ended the 29 years of military rule by handing over power to President Olusegun Obasanjo.
I, Olusegun Obasanjo,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will be faithful
that I will be faithful
and bear true allegiance
and bear true allegiance.
Since the return of democratic rule, Nigeria has continued to make tremendous progress in a political journey. One of such progresses was the consolidation of democratic power for 80 years by the same leadership and political party without any violence.
In the first instance, I think the transition from the military to civilian administration in 1999 as the first phase of our success story in celebrating democratic governance in Nigeria and in also trying to enthrone, democracy as a culture, in Nigeria started actually from 1999, as a matter of fact. The Second Republic and the First Republic, had their own contestations, and they also have their pluses and minuses. But celebrating democratic consolidation in Nigeria essentially started from 1999. And the reason actually is that first, the military decided to actually hand over to a civilian administration, and the entry point of 1999, of a former military head of state who himself handed over power in 1979 to the Second Republic Civilian Administration, gave us actually an impression that the military themselves wanted to be part of the civil rule, and they are also attuning to the need for democratic culture to be entrenched in Nigeria. And so it was not surprising that Nigerians, political actors, Democrats, activists, and even the youth really wanted democracy to be sustained and also entrenched, and then if need be, to be consolidated at a particular phase of our polity. So 1999-2003 gave us that platform, to review ourselves, to set the reform agenda, and then to begin to reap the fruits from the second part of that particular administration, which is 2003 to 2007. Democracy is not simply about political rule or administrative component. It's also about economic development, because the Constitution is very clear. Section 14, subsection 2, paragraph B of the Constitution of Nigeria makes it very, very clear that the primary purpose of government in Nigeria is to do only two things: to promote the security and welfare of all people. Security here is not state or political or military security. No, security here is economic security, social security, environmental security, and any component of security that will improve welfare and add value to the quality of life and standard of living of Nigerians. That is actually the only reason why people are in government, at the federal, state, and local government.
There has been a long chain, unbroken long chain in the political system. Chief Olusegun Obasanjo came in, spent his 8 years, then he was succeeded by the late Mr. Yaradua came in, then Chief Mr. Ebele Jonathan. Now we have Mr. Muhammadu Buhari as the president, the executive president of this great nation. So it is systematic.
Also, in 2015, Nigeria practically became the cynosure of all eyes with her presidential election of that year.
Each political epoch, each political regime from 1999 to date had a significant role that they have played. The first regime that came in 1999 laid the foundation. That's under retired General Olusegun Obasanjo. It relayed the foundation of civil and democratic government in Nigeria. When he left, Yaradua took over. And Yaradua, if you remember, he seems to be one of the most honest Nigerian presidents that we ever had. Why? Because he agreed, if you remember, that the election that brought him into power was killed. But then he promised there's going to be a reformation. And what happened before he departed the world, the moralistic world, showed that he was willing to tread that talk, because so many elections at that period were upturned And he never said, no, you cannot do it. He accepted it. And he was bringing his own style of discipline. Discipline in governance and discipline in spending. Now, came in Mr. Goodluck. Goodluck brought his own system again, because if you look at Goodluck, he's been able to bring the various group, especially the so-called non-dignitaries, into power, which some people would think he represented. He's been able to account for them in governance. You know, yeah, he also did his own. He tried his best. But then came the current regime, which came in 2015. Now, since 2015, there had been a systematic development. Some of the pitfalls of the back since 1999 are now systematically being corrected. For example, the issue of corruption, the issue of infrastructural provisioning, and the issue of looking at the nation asset. They are now being properly looked at. Now, there were challenges in the past. Those challenges has boosted the current government to be able to capitalize on those challenges. By ameliorating them, the Nigeria moves up.
The ruling party of the 2015 actual election understood very clearly that what legacy do I want to leave behind? The man that contested 3 times and lost election consistently went to the court of law for the resolution of the electoral dispute in some of the parts of the election. Now, in 2015, we saw another side of the dividend of this electoral reform package. An incumbent president refused to be boxed to go to court to contest the election won by President Muhammad Buhari in 2015. That stabilized our polity. That stage of stability of the electoral process, again, is a success story of the capacity of the political actors and the political parties and their followers to allow peace to reign, because there is a belief of the need to stabilize the polity. I think even President Muhammad Buhari himself was shocked that the incumbent president, President Goodluck Jonathan, decided not to contest. He could have contested a part, of it in any part of Nigeria, but he felt this is the time for us to demonstrate maturity as political actors. And I think that's why President Muhammad Buhari himself saluted him, and consistently he will salute and continue to actually congratulate President Goodluck Jonathan for that singular act.
To hand over the reins of government, I believe that our nation is secure, our democracy is stable, and the future is bright.
We have changed the course of Nigerian political history. And for that, you have earned yourself a place in our history for stabilizing this system of multi-party democratic system. And you have earned the respect of not only Nigerians, but the world leaders.
There is no doubt that Nigeria is not yet there, more so when political actions surreptitiously manipulate the fault lines for personal gains. But the fact remains that the emergent challenges have helped to reshape the political system in general.
A civilian government that took over in 1999 was able to sustain after the first 4 terms. They continued in 2013. They were able to hand over to another government. We were able to take over from the ruling party to opposition party. It doesn't matter whether it's perfect. There has been a successive progress from 1999 to 2019. And we hope for better progress.
We've had interrupted democracy from 1960 till date. This is the first time Nigeria is enjoying democracy at a stretch for 20 years. In these 20 years, we had the first political party, which was the PDP. They took over the party in 1999. They ruled this nation for 16 good years. And then Nigerians felt we needed change. And then we voted massively for the change they promised us. And For that first 4 years, the security that was the major challenge we had has been minimized.
Expectations and the rumor was that 2015 Nigeria will break up, but we end up not breaking up. That shows that politically we learned a lesson. We accepted what came to us with maturity. So kudos to us as a country that we moved from the other party to another party and there was no bloodshed. Nigeria did not divide like it was rumoring.
This time around is the first time we are having, as a result of the reform packages that have taken place in the amendment of the Constitution in 2010, 2011, and 2015. The Electoral Act 2007, 2010, 2011, and 2015, all put together. All these are reforms to sanitize and provide integrity into our electoral system. Trust our leader. So 2015-2019, it wasn't just about a transition peacefully that stabilized the polity without actually litigation, without actually violence, without any form of crisis, but it also gave us an opportunity to give opposition for the very first time, taking over power from the incumbent, to also showcase what they can do. And I think it's a very important lesson for many other African nations. And that lesson is that the incumbent or ruling party need not rule for several decades before they actually allow themselves to be humiliated by the same voters, or before they turn completely their country into ashes or into complete anarchy. So you find the opposition that took over in a peaceful transition in 2019 again returned to power from 2019 to 2023.
This administration came at a time that Nigerians needed change. The change we promised and the change we will continue to deliver. We have faced a lot of challenges on this journey, and Nigerians have stood by us in achieving the 3 cardinal points of this administration, namely security, corruption, and the economy.
Constitutionalism, rule of law, accountability, and productivity. These are some of the areas that we need to consolidate. In consolidating the civil system that the pluralism that we want to have correctly, we have to look at all this: rule of law, accountability, responsibility, getting the right people at the point, and strengthening institution of governance.
To watchers of Nigeria politics, events of the few years gone by have shown that Nigeria has entrenched democracy as a culture. What is required now is for the nation to build institutions that will sustain the gains made.